Okay, I see one over here from Tan. Take a look. Can you take a look at OddCat? Okay, OddCat. See. Yeah. Okay, OddCat here I'm bullish as well. Okay, so this one here has a little bit of pointers that I can also share. Now let's talk about. I mean, this one here definitely is an element of context. Okay. So this opportunity to talk about context is very clear. Okay. Now let me take it take something out in isolation. Okay. Now, let's take this price development here out in isolation. Okay. Now what I mean by that is, if today the market came down and this is the low, and all we see is this, so the market make a push up and then that's a little bit of a correction. Okay, how do you think I will be expecting the next development? Down and up, right? Why? Initially coming down, first move, second move, we expect the third move. Okay, and in this situation, I will use a very simple fib here, 50% mark projection, right? 50 or 620. Okay, so that's when I say we look at it in isolation if this is the very first move after the market has came down. Okay, now let's take a look at where we are right now. It's a little bit different, right? You can see that. Okay, so that's what I meant by context. Exactly the same pattern development, but where it develops to me makes that difference. Okay, so now you see, where did the market comes from? It did not came from a very bottom. It came from here. Okay, so this move itself may be a completion of a tree move by itself. Okay, so that's where the difference starts to kick in, right? So when I have this context, okay, I will be careful in a small pullback. Why? After a three-wave move, we expect a deeper pullback. Okay, that's the expectation we always build in, right? So where is a deeper pullback? Here. Okay, so in fact, instead of kind of looking at this pullback, right, that means it's pretty shallow. It may be just, here and there the market goes, sometimes it does that. But to be safer, I would expect a deeper pullback. Okay, so how does that, differ from my typical kind of potential entries and things like that? I will be a bit patient, right? So I will not be too eager and, rush things through to get involved in the trade too early, because I understand after a three-wave completion, the pullback needs to be in the relative size of this entire move and follow that thought process, right? Okay, so oftentimes after a three-wave move, you probably would see not just a internal tree, but potentially a 7 leg. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which builds into a bigger 1, 2, 3. Can follow that thought process, right? So I'm still bullish on this. I think if this is gonna pull back correctively, it's likely still upside, but you want to be a little bit more careful because this can, as I mentioned, do a bigger and deeper pullback. Okay, so that's my take on Aussie CAD, right? So this is a very good example of utilizing the principle of context to give us some extra insight. Yeah, so I hope that also helps, right? To illustrate the difference between a very similar pattern, but developing at different place of a chart, developing based on a different context. Okay. Yeah, so things like this also, right? If you look at dollar yen, okay, this move to me, okay, a lot will see it as just an impulse. Okay, now this impulse to me from a context point of view is great. Why? Because you take a look at this on a higher time frame. This impulse move is not it's not anywhere, right? It's really coming from the part where the market has moved up significantly and we see our very first impulse. Okay, now if this impulse move occurs somewhere here, okay, so if you just visualize and imagine, right, this comes down, this goes up, then it starts to do something like that. Okay, if this impulse move is here, it's very different from here. Okay, because what we are seeing right now on dollar yen with this impulse is this is the first down move with momentum after a significant upside. So if we can see a correction here, this to me is a trade that, you know, I would say again, close to eyes, manage your risk, just take it. Okay, of course with a proper setup, right? You need to have a valid setup anyway. It's not just anyhow trade. Okay, but it's something that I would have high conviction. Whether it's gonna work out or not, I don't know. But it's definitely a trade. If I have a valid setup to sell, it's gonna be a high conviction trade. Okay, so that's again something to note, right? Some trades you realize, hey, how come I'm not that confident? Okay, of course, if trades that I'm not as confident, I would not take it and I would not put it in the trade plan already, right? But you will start to observe, hey, how come sometimes the trade setup seems to be valid, but I'm not taking it, okay? It might be one of those reasons that I share with you over here. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is one of the things that I look into as well.